So we're back for our last round. Not a great hand, so we're just gonna quickly mulligan this. We're also on the draw, so I don't think that's fairly capable. This one is better, but I think I can do a better 5. I was wrong. Alright, this is gonna have to work. Alright, we're going to bottom the lightning bolt. I think we just want a second land. Really, I think we're just going to be way too far behind for this. Alright, so we're going to start with a stomping ground and start playing 2/2s for 1. Are currently slightly worse than Nettle Sentinel. And just kind of hope it gets there. It's a little unfortunate. I think the real unfortunate thing is mostly that there's no draw that makes Reckless Bushwhacker good. Like, even though we mulled to 4, like, there was just no way that Bushwhacker was going to be a usable card. So it was really just, like, land, Nakadal, Nakadal. Matarka's command is fine, but it's probably not fine enough. And it's just like our hand doesn't do anything if our opponent has like 2 removal spells. The fact that they went Drowned Catacomb into Drowned Catacomb and mulled to 6 means we might be able to punish them a little bit. As for this, I'm going to go ahead and just play the second Nakatl on attack. I don't really care about like the open mana. I'm just getting minor, like F6 value at this point. Yeah, I don't think this clock is fast enough to punish our opponent for going like tapland into tapland. Into tapland. Like normally this is a type of thing that our deck is just very good at dealing with. But okay, so this is Heartless Summoning combo. We're probably too slow for this. I guess we've gotten reasonably lucky with the fact that our we've been able to cast this, and we'll have Rancor next turn, so we're going to be able to swing to for 6. Our opponent's dead in 2 more attack steps, so we need him to like. I think the combo requires 4 mana. Because you play. Oh no, I guess you can do it on 3. He can just mill us out. Because it's the mirror that is a 1/1 that costs 2, and when it dies, you can return another one with that name to your hand. But of course, it costs 2 less to cast, and their creatures are -1/-1. So you just play the first creature, it dies. Play the next creature, it dies. Evoking Muldrifter to draw 2 cards is sweet. I haven't actually seen that before. Because now, like, Evoking Muldrifter only costs, like, the 1. The tap lands are definitely hurting him. But yeah, with this, he just needs to find 2 of those mirrors, and then something that kills us with Enter the Battlefield or die triggers. One of the ways it can do it is Altar of the Brood. Altar of the Brood says whenever a permanent comes into play under control, target player mills. I think it's only 1 card, but it doesn't matter because he's going to have infinite triggers. Okay, so he's going to ultimate price one of our Nakatls, which is unfortunate, but reasonable. And because he did that in response to the Rancor, we're not going to be able to Rancor our other Nakatl. With the Burning Tree Emissary, so we're going to put him to 8. What this does mean is if we draw a land, he's dead next turn, which is sweet. Would have been the case anyway with a Tarkus command, actually. If I drew another land instead of Burning Tree Emissary, I actually would have just attacked and then probably a Tarkus commanded. That way I would have the Rancor. He'd have to kill the one with the Rancor. and I would get the Rancor back, and then I get to untap and go Rancor, Rancor on the other Wild Nacatl. For now, played another tap land. I think that's probably the only thing that saved me this game, is all of his stuff coming into play tapped. Uh, did 6 mana. This might not, now that I look at Muldrifter and the mana base, this might not be like combo, it might be like value Heartless Summoning. Yeah, it looks like Heartless Summoning Control, if that could be a thing. Um, so we are really well set up. We can just kill our opponent if we draw another land. An actual any land in the deck besides Dryad Arbor. So we have 16 outs at this point. Our Multifor could potentially get there. Duress is really good because it only hits non-creatures, so he has to take Rancor or Target's Command, which still leaves us with Emissary, Emissary, Bushwhacker combo, which means he basically needs to have a kill spell or combo us up right now. So he takes a Rancor probably because I can cast it and I could go 1-drop into Rancor, and that would represent a ton of damage. Alright, well, we have to play the Curd Ape just because we need to put as much pressure on as possible. Normally, we will not get this many turns on an opponent. It's kind of unfortunate that I haven't drawn a land. And in this habit, it's weird. Like, this is a deck that functions on only 2 lands, and with 19 lands in the deck, generally you should hit your second one by the turn 6 or whatever, especially on the draw. But one thing that I've noticed is when you mulligan, your one-landers are just even more or less likely to get there just because you have less of a density of lands. We finally hit, which is good. So I am going to go ahead and crack this and get a Sacred Foundry, which will make our future Nacatls better. In the meantime, we're going to say he doesn't have counter magic, and we're going to go for the kill here. And even if he can kill one creature, we should still have it. He needs to be able to kill 2 creatures and then like untap Languish or untap combo. Okay, no, he just scoops it up, which is fantastic. That's all we were waiting for. Like, any of the 3 or 4 previous turns, drawing the second land would have just allowed us to win that game. Okay, so for this one, we actually definitely board into Rest in Peace in case he does have that combo where he just plays the 1/1 mirrors again and again and again. We're actually going to bring in Destructive Reverie as well, since that really does kind of bone him out. I feel like this game could potentially go long again, so I don't really want growths. His things aren't. I think I'm actually going to keep 1 growth in, and I'm going to cut a Bushwhacker and a Rampager, because those are more expensive spells. I don't think I'm generally going to be going for that really, really fast kill. And one of the other reasons I want at least a growth, so I'm going to bring out a couple Rancors instead of the growths. I want the growth for the toughness boost to get around Languish, because there are actually a fairly large, like Nacatl or Curd Ape, can live through a Languish with mutagenic growth, and I wanted Rancor for some extra clock, also because it will come back, but I feel like I have other grindy pieces, or rather I have other answers in Destructive Reverie and Rest in Peace. I don't know if I need the Rancor, or I'll go a 1/1 split. I really need to decide if I want a Rancor or a Path to Exile. The Path will remove one of his creatures, so he can't really go for the combo anymore. I just don't know. But the Path doesn't actually help with that, because it's just going to be state-based effects. The creature's going to die, so thinking about it again, that's why I'm not going to board into Gut Shot or anything like that. I'm just going to go with 1 Rancor, 1 Mutagenic Growth, and try it, see how it goes. Okay, I actually do like this hand. I think what I'm going to go is turn 1 Stomping Ground Goblin Guide, turn 2 Vexing Devil Dryad Arbor, turn 3 Emissary Bushwhacker. And that's actually a pretty explosive opening because I have the third land to go Burning Tree, Bushwhacker, and swing with Dryad Arbor. So this could represent like 2 damage on turn one, another 2 damage, and then play Vexing Devil, see what he does. Because if he doesn't have a Wrath effect, and even then, I'm threatening to basically kill him on turn three, so his Wrath effects aren't really going to be on board yet, or in effect yet. The other thing is, this hand, I did see Duress, and I didn't see anything else. Because I drew Wild Nacatl, I need to decide whether I want to play Wild Nacatl or Goblin Guide. I'm going to go with Wild Nacatl because if I draw Sacred Foundry or fetch land that can get Sacred Foundry, it represents 1 more damage. Because Goblin Guide would get in for 2 this turn and 2 next turn. Now Wild Nacatl and Goblin Guide will get in for 4 next turn, so the math works out the same. But by playing Wild Nacatl now, if I get a Sacred Foundry, then I could be swinging for 5 next turn and get 5 damage in the first 2 combat steps. And then I still get to do the whole Burning Tree Emissary Reckless Bushwhacker thing and hold back Vexing Devil in case he does have a Wrath effect. Because he played 2 Scrylands, neither which tap for black, I'm really not worried about Wrath effects right now, or even kill spells for that matter. So I think that this is just going to go fairly well. Okay. Immediately rewarded. Draw the Sacred Foundry, shock it in. We're going to play the Goblin Guide pre-combat, swing for 5, and then play the Vexing Devil. Because I think I like Vexing Devil better here. I could always play I'm gonna play Vexing Devil here after I attack to see if he takes 4 or not. And then next turn I get to go Dryad Arbor, Burning Tree, Reckless Bushwhacker, and Dryad Arbor will get haste, and I'll get to swing with it for 2 as well. So, should be very dead if all goes according to plan. Alright, Muddle the Mixture. If he just transmutes Muddle the Mixture, I'm pretty sure I just win the game. Let's see what he does. Even without the Vexing Devil, just the Bushwhacker, whatever. So let's say he had like 2 black mana next turn. Like let's say he just like slams Urborg. I think he can only, like, none of his Wrath effects would actually affect my board because the black Wraths are generally -2/-2. So he took the 4 from Vexing Devil. He's down to 11. Even if he kills both of my creatures, I'm going to be swinging for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he'd be going to 4, and I'd have 5 power in play. And I think he's just stuck on black mana. He did mulligan. I don't know. Is he just Muldrift? Oh, okay, so he is transmuting. So yeah, I'm just slamming Dryad Arbor and killing him next turn. This deck just can put up so much damage so quickly. Like, we did 9 on turn 2, and we're just going to get to untap and do 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And he just scoops, yeah, he doesn't even need to see it. We would have been able to swing for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and put him to -3. So even if he didn't take Vexing Devil, it would have been fairly good. Our opponent disconnected. So yeah, overall this deck, like, I mean, most of the matches pretty much showed it. This deck can be so blisteringly fast. And sometimes it can be a little inconsistent. It has a little bit of inevitability. Like, if we look at game 1 of this match, you could see that as soon as we hit the second land, we were just winning. And there wasn't much my opponent could do about it. And in Modern, with so many linear strategies, this one just totally punishes any deck that stumbles. Being able to do things like swinging for 5, offering another 4, and then swinging for 14 the next turn, you just can't recover for that. If you're messing around with Scrylands and transmuting things in these weird combo decks, if you're messing around with slow control decks that don't have efficient enough answers, this deck is just going to punish you. And even other aggro decks, like, because this deck goes so wide so fast thanks to Bushwhacker, it's just incredible. So I've been really happy with this deck. I actually have been playing it in paper and practicing it with there, and it's only been fantastic there as well. I think I'm like 5-1 in comp REL rounds with the deck so far, so it's just played brilliantly. So definitely would recommend the deck. It's relatively cheaper-ish for something that I consider tier one to tier 1.5, probably tier 1.5 ish. Besides Goblin Guides, which I do think are necessary, like the mana base can be made with all cons fetches, which is something I wanted to try on the Magic Online version. Like you don't need the Arid Maces if you don't have them. And the other, like, most of the other cards are like Vexing Devil's kind of expensive at $10 a piece, but this deck comes in way under something like even Affinity, which is like the other premier aggro deck, and even Death Shadow Zoo can be kind of expensive because of all of the fetch lands. So I really like this as a fairly affordable high tier aggro deck. And if that's like the type of strategy you really like playing, I would definitely recommend this deck for sure. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you liked it, please like the video. If you have any questions or concerns, please leave them in the comments. And if you want to see more stuff like this and some of our other types of content we're going to be producing, hit the subscribe button. And we'll see you next time.